GTA Online, as we know, has a lot of cars, bikes, planes, and etc. So what ones are actually the best, or what ones should you be picking up in 2023? Well, this video is just for you, as I'll be going through the top 5 vehicles you must own in 2023. So without further ado, let's just jump straight into the video. Now, this list is in no specific order whatsoever, so watch through the entire video to see all the vehicles you should be picking up. But starting off at the number 5 spot, we have, in my view, the best overall jet in the game, named the Pyro. Now, the Pyro is one of the most nimble and fastest fighter planes in the entire game, with one of the tightest turning circles and best acceleration out of any aircraft in the game. Now, it's good for missions and dogfighting, with the aircraft's handling being very similar to the Rogue, another superb jet. Now, the top speed of the jet is also really good at about 210 knots, which is similar to the Hydra, but overall I feel the Pyro is superior to the Hydra and the Laser. It has a great selection of weapons with machine guns with good range and tracking missiles that have no reload cooldown, meaning they can be fired continuously, which is great for when you want to take out an enemy land vehicle really fast, although the tracking isn't the best, which is the only real downside to this aircraft. And it's also really good for beginners as well, as the rudder is really responsive and there is room for error, unlike some of the other aircrafts in the game where too much input on the rudder can easily result in a crash. Now, with the hangar, you can equip plenty of countermeasures including flares and chaff, along with a good amount of livery options to make it look like your own. And I know this will cause uproar in the comment section, as the aviation community and dogfighting community in GTA Online like to argue about what aircraft is the best, but I truly believe the Pyro is the best all-round aircraft for everything from dogfighting to missions, and also getting from point A to point B in a short space of time. But what about the cost? Well, it's actually pretty pricey, coming in at $4,455,500. But you can unlock a trade price for this vehicle by completing 33 steal missions for the hangar business, which most of you probably have done already. Now, even though it's expensive, I think it's totally worth it, as it's an excellent alternative to vehicles like the Mark II and the Laser Jet. Next up at the number 4 spot, we have another controversial one, and that's the Oppressor Mark I. Yes, I did just put the Mark I Oppressor over the Mark II Oppressor for this list. Now, it's not just because I have a grudge against the Mark II, but the Mark I is a lot more fun to use, and performance between the two isn't that different, and in fact the Mark I actually has a few advantages over its more used updated brother. Now, the Mark I's boost is far superior to the Mark II, with being on average 40% more effective at propelling the bike forward than the Mark II does. Now, on ground, with the boost, it is also faster than the Mark II, and people who are used to the Mark I and its handling can outpace and get across the map faster than Oppressor Mark II users. And the chance of you being hit by missiles is also much lower, as the movement, when mastered, can be used to the Mark I's advantage, with crazy aerial maneuvers 100% possible compared to the Mark II, which is just a hover bike. Now, the Mark I mastery won't really take you that long to do, and it will also be a lot of fun, as some of the skills required are they are a bit challenging, but it is good fun when you get to know it. Now, it also has the same missiles as the Mark II, with a capacity of 20 missiles, which is pretty decent, although their missiles are still inferior to the Ruiner 2000 missiles, which are the creme de la creme of weaponry in the game. Now, it can be stored in any garage, but can only be upgraded at the MOC or an Avenger, which has the vehicle workshop installed, which is a big bummer. But most likely by now you will have either the Avenger or the MOC, as they are very good. And if you don't have either of them, you should look to invest in one right away. Number 3 here is a vehicle that you have probably seen before or have been recommended, and that is the Sparrow Helicopter. Now this vehicle is one of my favorite ones in GTA 5 Online in general, and it's super underrated or overlooked by a large portion of the player base, although that other part of the player base really does love this vehicle, and it's, well, deserved love, I would say. I mainly use this vehicle for completing prep missions for Pyro due to its speed, ease of use, and that it can be stored inside the Kosatka's moon pool. Now the vehicle is unlocked by buying the moon pool upgrade for the Kosatka submarine, which gives you access to the Cayo Perico heist, arguably the best way to make money in the entire game. Now the moon pool upgrade costs 1,815,000, and that includes the Sparrow Helicopter, which is one of the fastest helicopters in the entire game. Because it's a helicopter, it means you can park it or land it nearly wherever you want, and it can be useful especially if a mission objective is in a small alleyway or between high-rise buildings, which could be impossible to land a plane in, or somewhere nearby. It would make it impossible for you to land a plane next to the objective or even nearby. You might have to land really far away, and that's just a huge inconvenience. And also, the Sparrow recently got a buff, so it now has countermeasures including flares and chaff, along with a set of pretty good missiles that can be used to take out air and land targets. Now, you won't be able to realistically take out Mark II oppressors or fast-flying laser jets, but mission NPCs and land vehicles should be no problem for this helicopter. Now, it's all around a perfect grinding vehicle and can get you from one side of the map to the other very quickly. And all of this costs less than $2 million, and that sounds like an absolute bargain, and it certainly is. Apart from the fact it's quite weak, with regular bullets being able to significantly damage the chopper very quickly, but due to its agile handling and great speed, chances are you'll be far away before bullets can really damage you. Here at the number 2 spot, we have a vehicle that can be operated inside and outside of water, and that's the Toreador. This vehicle is just the Stromberg, but better in nearly every single way. The Toreador is a vehicle that can be used as a powerful boosting car on land, with a good top speed and great handling, with powerful missiles, and then can transform with a press of a button into a powerful boosting underwater submarine, able to go 3 times as fast as the Stromberg. Now, if you already own the Stromberg, then probably there isn't that much point in upgrading, as this is an expensive vehicle, but if you don't own either of these, get the Toreador. It's very useful for missions, especially if you want to escape from police. Simply go into the water, go about for a minute or two inside the water, then return to land. It's also a great way to avoid griefers or to take them out, as the torpedoes that can be operated only in the water have very aggressive tracking and can penetrate the surface and go into the air for some reason. Don't ask. Rockstar simply isn't really a big fan of physics. Now, the Toreador is also really fast underwater, and the boost can recharge over time. Now, the only downside that I can really think of is that if one of the windows is broken by a bullet or something, then the player can actually drown if the car is submerged underwater, which is a huge pain in the ass, meaning you will have to drive carefully and cleanly, and will have to check all windows and body panels are still on the car before going into the water for any extended period of time. Now, how much does this vehicle cost? Well, the Toreador costs $3,660,000 from Warstock Cash and Carry, and is yet another vehicle I would suggest you guys buy, as it's not just useful, but also a ton of fun. And finally, here we are at the number 1 spot, and we have the Savage Helicopter. This, in my view, is the most underrated vehicle in the entire game, full stop, and it's a really hard hitter in terms of firepower. It may not be the most agile or light thing in the world, but in terms of weaponry, it hits really hard. The aircraft is equipped with an explosive 6-barrel Gatling gun, which can take even heavily armored targets down in about 15 to 20 shots, and factor in it fires really fast, it's very overpowered. Just like many other aircraft, the pilot can select to fire homing missiles or unguided rockets. The missile's tracking is the same as the Buzzard attack chopper, being particularly bad at hitting agile targets. However, unlike the Buzzard, the Savage does not suffer from a reload cooldown and can continuously fire missiles every single second, and it has similar firepower and tracking to Buzzard missiles, which is basically as good as you can get for a helicopter. Now the helicopter can hold 4 people and is really cheap for all the performance you're actually getting, as it only comes in at a price of $2,593,500, which for such a heavy hitting helicopter, this is a really solid deal. And there is also a trade price for this vehicle coming in at $1,950,000, and you can unlock this after doing the Pacific Standard heist, which is a really good price, making this also the second cheapest option on this list. So if you are on a budget, this might be one just for you. But that is all for today's video. If you did enjoy this video or find it helpful, then drop a like and suggest any other videos down in the comment section below. I tried to make this list out of vehicles that were not overused or vehicles that people don't know that well. So thanks for watching, and like always guys, take care everyone and have a great day.